Alright, we are live now.
Alright, so YouTube, just clearing this chart out for you so we can break it down. And then gold, a nice little move this morning. So I'm typing in the chat. Good morning, team. I would say if you could speak about keeping focus and the momentum. So that's funny you asked that. We the whole episode yesterday for about 25-30 minutes is about momentum. And picking momentum back up, keeping it. And Carlos, if that's what you want to focus on too, and if that's what you're maybe struggling with right now, just let's hop on the Zoom as well, and we'll get you through it. Because everyone I've hopped on the Zoom with since getting back from Cyprus, we've been able to pick up their momentum pretty much exactly where we want it to be. If not, they're well on their way to being where they want to be. So it's all about just kind of keeping that. So we'll start with GJ real quick, do a quick little breakdown. And then again, you guys on YouTube, we're picking up with Secrets of Trading, the podcast that we've been doing, psychology around trading and in life and business. So if there's a subject that you want us to cover, just write down in the comment section what you want us to be going over, anything psychology wise. Alright, so looking at GJ over here, we've had obviously the yearly highs around 168,500 being tapped. Ever since then, we've just been creating these lower highs over here, pushing all the way back down to 160 and holding that support. We even came back down to 159,500, somewhere around that area with this wick, and then ended up rejecting and closing bullish. This candle, next candle, ended up closing bearish, retesting this area right here, holding a resistance with this bearish candle. This candle created a top wick, passed the low, and pushed all the way back down into here again. Now it's flipping bullish. So now looking at the daily, we can see that that 160 level is a high demand zone, right? Before that though, we ended up having this support being tapped and held. Alright, we can drag that over to the left. So we ended up holding this support and bouncing off that 160 level first, holding support, coming up, and then holding a lower high with this resistance, which we're now starting to retest right now. But price since this level just pushed down and retest the low, came down, closed below 161, right? This candle passed the low, tapped 160 perfectly, and then flipped bullish and closed right back into this range here. So now we're starting to approach this resistance again, and we're starting to tap into it. And as you can see, we're kind of rejecting it so far. Just look at these wicks over here to the left, right? So can we create the same thing? Possibly. But if we do break above this level, you could very well expect some kind of a move coming up into some of these levels over here to the left, with a clean move to the left relatively on the daily. Once you close above this level on the daily, we could very well continue back up, especially if we get some more weakness in the Japanese yen. As you can see, we've been creating some lower highs over here since the 11th of August. Right now it's the 17th. So is this another resistance to continue down and retest the low? If so, you're going to see GJ, EJ, UJ all continuing back up. Alright, so now we can readjust. Obviously, we're rejecting this level right here. I'm just going to make this like a thin zone. That previous support over here to the left. We also have this resistance up here to the left as well. The price could be coming up into if we stay above this level and can mirror some of these moves to the left. But it gets a little choppy over here, as you guys can see. So now, ever since 160, you've seen this bullish trend, higher low being formed last night and continuing right back up. Looking at the 1 hour now. 1 hour is just creating higher lows. We ended up closing back above this level right here, right? Previous support, and now creating a high so far. Are we coming down to retest this level, holding support to continue up? Or are we going to get some kind of a deeper pullback into this possible area right here? So now looking at the 30-minute. 30-minute is kind of struggling to actually adjust this. because that's our most recent support. So do you have enough volume? Resistance right here. Now I wouldn't be trading in any of this, but do you have enough volume and range for the price to come back down to that support? If you get a 30-minute close or some kind of a retest right in this area, could you possibly grab this pullback? Maybe. You do have enough range for it, but I would just be careful in a range like this, trading against the trend, because everything tells you buy so far, right? But we have approached this area after a strong bullish move up, coming into this consolidation over here, right? What could end up happening on the higher time frames? We end up approaching that consolidation, coming down into this area to maybe consolidate in this area and then continue back down. Or now that we've held this higher low, kind of forming like a double bottom over here, right? Can we now push up from this area, continuing up, break that resistance, and continue right back into here? 164, actually I would just call it 165. This whole area right here, previous resistance. Again, this could be a very key area that price ends up bouncing off of once we end up breaking above this level. Or can we break through this level and continue back up, right? But again, this could be an area where price rejects and continues back down again. But we shall see. And so far the 4 hours bearish, 1 hour candle is rejecting that area. This is what, Jamie, are you with us? Jamie? Get ready for work. You there?
Yeah, I am.
Alright, awesome. This is what I was talking about with EJ, right? Same exact setup. We had this consolidation, we broke out of it, and then all of a sudden you get these wicks over here with small body candles, small candle bodies, where you then get that pullback, right? So you end up filling these wicks, especially if you're kind of overextended over here. Expect some kind of a pullback, anywhere into here to continue up, maybe right here to continue up. But yeah, these wicks and these candle bodies are definitely a hint for some kind of a pullback, especially if you're in some kind of a consolidation over here. Just want to move this down a little bit too. Alright. Sharma, you have anything to add?
No, what I'm waiting for is price to break below, if you hop back up on the 4 hour time frame. Yeah, I'm waiting for, my zone is a little bit lower, but I'm waiting for price to clear out of this entire area right here for any potential sell opportunities. That way, it'll continue breaking its own low, and that'll tell us that there's a lot more volume in the market that we can take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. You got major rejections of this area right here.
Yep.
Tanks, and then this, wanted to tap one more time, and then we just continue right back down. So can we reach that level before that happening? Maybe. But right now it looks like we're starting to reject this whole consolidation here to the left. Alright, so if we could get below that area like Sharma was just talking about, I could see us bringing back below it as well.
Yeah.
But again, keep in mind this it's 4 hour higher low being formed. Right? Got the consolidation above. Price is now pushing up from this level, so that could be like a double bottom, telling you that price could very well continue up if we get continued weakness in the Japanese yen. 30 minute. Again, we're still sitting in this range. We keep rejecting that area multiple times. 15 minute ended up closing a strong bearish candle. I wouldn't be trading in this, but see if we get that close below this level. Alright, off to gold. Gold is just pushing down right over here. You're getting the same exact thing you've gotten in the past, tapping into that trend line. Where price ends up creating that low, lower high, comes down, creates a new low, prints the same exact thing with this candle right here with the wick to fill, then we end up printing a new low. Now we're coming up, right, doing the same exact thing. Strong bearish candle close. Can we continue right back down to 1680 from here? That really depends on the Fed and how hawkish they are. Looking at the daily now, daily looks great. This is what we called last week, where we said if price was bouncing off this level, previous support, we got the first bounce right here. Price comes right back up, grabs liquidity one more time. Strong bearish candle close right here with the wick to fill. These candles are all respecting their highs and all breaking the previous lows. All right, so where could we be coming down into? You have 1750 down here, that horizontal line. But you have this support right here that you want to keep in mind. Looking at the 4 hour now. So just move this down. Around that support right there. You have our more recent support right here. Also resistance to the left. We were sitting in this consolidation. Alright, we grab liquidity one more time before continuing back down with this like indecision candle. This one created a top wick, very small top wick, barely there. But past the low of that candle is continuing down on the 4 hour. So now we're starting to approach this wick over here. Great setup. It's almost like a little fake out of this level right here. We got that close above the level right here. Price created the high, no top wick. Candle passes the high right away, flips bearish, closes a strong bearish candle back in that area. And ever since then, we've been breaking out. So that's a nice little fake out for you. Let's see the 30 minute. So the 30 minute, this is my setup. If you guys, ever want to take something like this, but you get the bearish candles closing. I know they're still above this support right here, right? But once you get this candle close, a weak bullish candle, if this candle creates a top wick and passes a low over here, as long as you have volume, this ends up being a very strong candle. Isaac, do you remember our Zoom yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Remember that setup I was talking about?
Yeah.
Normally, like that one you took, I think it was last week, where this candle really didn't play out like this. Most of the time, I showed you, I think, 2 other examples where this played out, and now you're seeing it again with gold. So, like, guys, if you want to put this in your journals, I highly recommend it. It plays out, I would say, like 70-80% of the time, as long as you have high volume. It's almost, yeah, it's 40 pips right there. I know Quentin got it before he had to leave. So, right now, Sharma, what are you expecting for retail sales? Because I know we got good numbers last week, and we had this bearish move that pumped in before the retail sales numbers came out. And the last 2 retail sales numbers really kind of like consolidated price and then kind of reversed price. Right
now we have like a pretty big range when it comes to what we are expecting. So it's not a huge drop down. It is a huge drop down from like 1.0 coming right back down to a forecast of 0.1. So that already tells us that when we look at the previous economic data, that we are expecting a lot of consumers to start being conservative, especially now we've had such aggressive hikes. So if we see a number that really comes down below 0.1, just for retails, not for core retail sales, just for retail sales, but if we see that number coming down below 0.1%, then I expect the market to react heavily, and then if it comes out higher than 1.0%, which I think is unlikely, then I think the market will react heavily. Anything in between, I don't think it's going to react too much since we're already trying to price that in. But again, that's why I said, there's a huge range.
Absolutely. Yeah, so this will be interesting. Again, last if you go back to July 15th, we got some good numbers that came out.
Yeah. So see, that's an example of why the market would react, somewhat to pretty much what happened, because I'm gonna annotate here real quick. But our previous, was sitting at a negative. We're expecting a huge jump, which is pretty much what happened. So we give it like that, small little margin, right? So the market did react to it, and after that, it just pretty much started consolidating out, until higher time frames were ready to break out of their levels. Same thing when you look at the core retail sales too, where we were sitting at that 0.6%, expecting just like a little bit of an increase, but again you came out with a higher number, more than what we were expecting.
So if we go over to the chart, take a look at July 15th. This is kind of what I was talking about, where you had that previous, few days before it, had that bearish move, kind of like what we have right now. And then the news came out on the 15th, consolidated a little bit. We got better than expected numbers, and price held that support right there and continued back up.
Yep.
So is that something, if we get good numbers, is that something kind of you're expecting now? Because if you look at gold, it kind of looks similar with this bearish move and then this one during London.
Yeah.
Can we consolidate, maybe fake this level out and then continue back up? Or if we get really good numbers, could that push gold down, knowing that the Fed wants to increase rates even more? Like they feel a little bit more hawkish with good numbers?
I think there's a higher probability of this being pushed down, especially when you're looking at the daily time frame. When you hop back up on the daily time frame, you see that nice top wick rejection on the current daily candle, and then a push back down with like liquidity grabs. So I think there's a higher probability of price probably giving you a lot of wick rejections here. But again, it comes down to the fact that we have a huge range. From like 1.0, we're dropping down to like 0.1, right? And that's a huge range. So even if it drops back down from like 1.0 to 0.9 or 0.5 or 0.4, we're pretty much still pricing that in. So unless there's a huge difference and we completely miss the forecast, or we're higher than the previous, I think that's the only way that I see the market's really reacting heavily to that news.
Well, let's actually go over to Forex Juice. Financial Juice. So we're going to keep that open. And as you were just saying with that daily, like this is the main U.S. news of the week, right? So being that way, and the daily and the 4 hour looking the way it is, maybe this weekly can push, and the daily can push all the way back down into this support around 1758, maybe 1755 area, and then maybe even retrace. But maybe this is the volume that actually pushes us down, because everything is below the support now too.
Yeah, and we've already broken below the previous weekly low. That zone that you have marked off, if you go onto the weekly time frame, we've already broken the previous weekly low here.
Like that.
There you go. So you're getting that confirmation from the weekly time frame, from the daily time frame, from the 4 hour time frame. Now it's a matter of waiting for a proper setup, which is more like a break and retest. So let's say, for example, if you really want to take advantage of that volume, on a 30-minute time frame, can we see price giving a break and retest and continuing back down? There's 2 minutes until this candle closes. So let's say it closes like this, and then maybe the next 30 minutes going into news, we'll probably push right back up into that zone to reject it as a resistance and then continue pushing down, right? So can we essentially see another candle that pushes us right here, holds on to this area as resistance, and then continues back down? As that happens, then we can take advantage of that. Or this could be the consolidation that you're talking about. So like the 30-minute candle, when you drop down to the 15-minute, maybe we end up consolidating out here, and then as the new 4 hour candle starts forming with the New York Stock Exchange open, maybe you get a liquidity grab top wick and then a push right back down, right? And that could be a setup that we could trade. Or price just essentially just holds on to this area of support, and then gives you the next candle pushes right back down, and you can take advantage of that. So there's multiple setups that can be taken advantage of here.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm really thinking and looking for. It's just like that retest of this level.
Yeah.
And if we get something like that, maybe even on the 5 minute, and price really holds this resistance here, and it's making sense, we got a nice range down here. Like, and you know, the next support, obviously you have this wick over here to the left, but you got a range, obviously all the way down to 1756, but then this support right here, the price could end up rejecting over here, but it could very well push through right there as well. Because again, we're looking at this based on the daily and how we could really just fill this whole area right here with some certain numbers.
So I actually have a quick question. If you hop back up to the 4-hour time frame, I just saw it now, and then zoom out. Yeah, that's perfect. So why this level down here instead of this?
That's a great level too on the 4 hour. What I was looking at here was, if you're looking over here, you have this wick, right? And I originally kind of marked it off with this wick, like that's where you might want to secure. Is look at the bearish push all the way into that area as a high liquidity zone where price kind of just bounces off. Price people take profit and buyers take over, consolidate it up here, and they continue back up from that area. But what I was looking at is the 1 hour, the 30 minute. You got this move all the way down into this support right here. Right? So you got multiple rejections off that area. But yeah, like you said, the 4 hour. Oh, there you go. You're saying right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense too. And would that be the wick fill? Yeah. It'd be the wick fill. So again, we gotta just see what ends up happening right here. But at least at that wick, I know that this was my support marked off. But this wick, if we end up filling that wick, I'll be taking a piece off, and that's right at that level that you were talking about. So it makes sense why that wick is there.
Yeah.
Based on the 4 hour. But did that make sense where I had mine?
Yeah.
Let's see what's in there. Anybody have any charts they want to go over? Yeah, because obviously we have this level, I think that you have right there, but we've pushed through it multiple times, right? This is that level. Obviously you have the consolidation here, but that's that level where you've held resistance and then held support, and you got a fairly clean move coming down into that area if you do break through that wick. I could see us kind of rejecting down here, not to mention we got 1764, 63, 500, somewhere around there.
Yeah. But that higher level, like right now, based off the 30-minute time frame and the hourly, seems more like that liquidity area where price taps off of and then kind of just moves with a lot of volume. So when you're looking at, yeah, so when you're looking at all of this, where it's like resistance being held, and then same thing here where it gives you, this is like more like a weak bullish close, right? But the following candle gives you a bottom wick, and that's pretty much when it takes off. And then hold on to a support here, and same thing, it pretty much takes off from that point.
Absolutely. Now, honestly, you could just draw it like this. Because as you can see, like, once you got this bullish candle close, creating that higher low, this candle tapped right into that area and flipped bullish from there. And kind of cleared out of that area. Ever since then, we just took off.
Yep.
So, like, and you guys know me. If you trade with me on a daily basis, you know I don't like these, like, really big zones. But this would make sense of where price wants to continue back down into. But if we get really, strong numbers, I could see this, or like big surprise numbers, I could see that getting pushed right through.
Mm-hmm.
We'll keep it up here. I think that's where you have it, right?
It just seems like we're testing the previous highs right now in the 30-minute time frame. So let's see if we can get, push up a resistance being held in and push back down.
I think a good sell stop would be below the support. If
That
that's
would
what you
be if this candle. So same thing. I'm just gonna annotate here real quick just to show like what are potential setups that I'm looking for. So here, for example, if this candle pushes us all the way up top here, and let's say like it has like some sort of a wick rejection or something like up top, and then the following candle, I would want to see like some sort of a top wick rejection into the zone again, and then let's say it closes back down bearish like this. That would take us, this is like the next hour or so pretty much at this point, right? And so going into the stock exchange open 6 a.m. PST, 9 a.m. on the East Coast, what I would want to see is that candle, the new hourly candle, forming a top wick and breaking the lows. As that happens, I would take this setup here. So this is basically what I'm looking for with the stop loss here, and then that gives us a good enough range to target this maybe for some partials that'll be like just over 1-to-1, or if volume keeps if there's a lot of volume in the market and it keeps pushing price down, then this could be that 1-to-1 area, and then looking for runners for price to just continue down. But this is pretty much the setup that I would want to see here,
especially after this setup that we got with this one.
yeah.
A lot of times whenever you get a push like that, you get some kind of a retracement, and then price continues back down.
Yeah, and maybe we don't even come all the way up to the zone, right? We just end up rejecting price as it is right now. But pretty much I want to see, when you're looking at the 15-30 minute time frames, trying to take advantage of the volume, I want to see like some sort of top wick and then price pretty much coming back down and breaking below these areas and continuation up. If we are not able to come all the way up top here, that's the only way that I'll be okay with taking a trade somewhere down here. Ideally, my trade would probably be somewhere up top here.
Okay. And plus, it's a better place to sell from anyway.
Yeah.
Is there any questions on YouTube?
Nothing yet.
How are you guys doing? Zoom.
If you guys just hopped on to YouTube, Stefano's made this announcement kind of early on too, if you weren't able to catch it, but we are starting the Circuits of Trading podcast again. So if you guys have any topics that you guys want us to go over, let us know. Mostly the podcast is more about psychology, and then how to, things that pretty much traders don't tell you that you realize or you learn once you've spent enough time trading. And it's not all glamorous and everything like that. I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that. And when it comes down to trading, but if there's any particular questions or topics that you guys want to know more about, want to listen to our take on those topics, let us know.
Literally, the reason why we started this podcast is the same reason anybody starts a business. They find that the market has a need for something, and they end up creating a solution for it. So with us, we found a need of a lot of information that is not being given or wasn't given to us early on in our trading careers that we wish we knew now, and that's what we're hitting on. And if you go back into the series and watch some of the previous ones, I'm sure you'll get a lot of answers there, but we're continuing it back up again because of how busy my year's been, how busy we've been with our businesses and stuff like that. We haven't been able to really concentrate on it and put a lot of effort into it. But now, second half of this year, we're gonna be picking it back up for you guys. And again, the more you guys have suggestions for topics, the better it is, and the more we'll be able to crank out. So we'll be doing it every single Friday. We'll be releasing one. We already filmed one yesterday, based on momentum and how to gain momentum and how to keep it. And then another announcement is Sunday we're going to be picking back up. I don't know if you guys remember my old Instagram, or about a year ago, what we used to do is instead of the breakdowns on Monday, we're now going to be doing them on Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that you guys have a good idea, especially in Europe, when it's 6, 7 o'clock at night, you guys are getting ready for your Monday. You now have a nice live breakdown for about an hour of what we're looking at in the market fundamentally and technically. So that should be a much bigger of a benefit for you guys instead of like Monday night, because a lot of you guys in Europe and Africa, Asia, you guys don't see it until Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon. So, at that point, you have a good breakdown, you have a good idea where price is going to go, but it might be a little bit too late. But now you'll have it Sunday night most of the people in the world, unless it's the Asian section and you guys are in Indonesia or Japan, something like that, and you're going to view it a little bit later, but that's okay.
Yeah. So it's gonna be on YouTube and on Instagram.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be on my Instagram and Sharma's YouTube channel. We'll be doing it live from both, so you guys can ask questions and stuff on either one, and see how you guys like that.
Alright. So this is one way to kind of determine the volume in the market. See how price was kind of hanging around these wick rejections for a very, very long time as we were kind of discussing those setups, and now it's finally, you know, breaking above it, creating new highs. So that's how you kind of test the volume in the market. So right now, obviously, there's high volume for some bullish push up. We're still kind of struggling when it comes down to, you know, retesting some levels. So let's see if we can get all the way up top here and essentially close up top here in the next 20 minutes. And then when news comes out, can we continue pushing with like some sort of a top wick?
Absolutely. So this could be your area that you could sell from. So what I want to do here is get us all ready. Screen over here. Got about 20 minutes left. So guys, feel free to send charts. Guys on YouTube as well. All you gotta do is take a camera over here, copy link to the chart image, and send it into YouTube. You know what? I should probably open YouTube over here. Also, if you guys have a previous trade, that you want to go over, TB Sydney. Hey B, how you doing today, buddy? What are you saying?
My US 30 trade just closed out too this morning.
Oh yeah, did you want to bring US 30 down?
Yep, we can do that. Alright, let's start off with that monthly time frame, please.
Make it on nice, push it up.
You could just hit like chart reset or auto on the bottom.
Auto. Oh, right here.
Yep. Perfect. Alright, so the first level that I have marked off is going to be this right here, 33,800, where price is holding on to that support, consolidation support for, you know, multiple months here. And then next level that I'm going to mark off is going to obviously this level right here that we can see, but also I'm going to mark off this bottom wick rejection right below this monthly candle. And the reason why for this one is because, you know, we have seen a lot of wick rejections right into this area. So if price does flip back down, we know that our range pretty much here is going to be between that 33,800 and coming back down into this wick rejection for the next like 14-15 days. And then after that is this pretty much price just correcting this entire sell-off, holding on to this as resistance and then continuing back down. We come back and we target into this area. A very high chance because from an equity perspective, we don't have too much, you know, optimism just yet into the markets. You know, we are still pricing in, for the most part, you know, we have priced in the recession fears and things like that. and inflation fears. But right now, is this more like a technical corrective move? So this is pretty much the important level that we're sitting at between this 33,800 and 34,000 flat. Now we go ahead and drop down to the weekly. Yep. Alright, so now on the weekly time frame, I'm going to start creating zones here. And so we have the very first level, or the zone that we're going to create is going to be right on top of this level right here. So we have price pretty much giving you a nice little resistance here, pulls back down, holds onto a support, and then continues pushing back up. You get nice wick rejections here as well, and then we see how there's heavy rejections. Who is that?
There you go.
Okay. So we get like nice wick rejections into these areas, and then we see how price pretty much pushes back up, and then you see a nice bullish momentum, right? Same thing here, you got a nice bullish momentum. Same thing here, nice bullish momentum. Wick rejection right into this area, and then another bullish push up. And then finally, when we are able to break below that area, we start looking for those wick rejections into this level, and then we continue pushing down just to come back down and create new lows. So I think this is a very important level for a corrective move, and also to kind of determine where we headed next. So with the current weekly candle, we did push back up, but again, you got a wick rejection, and so this week, can we close below this area, and then next week make a top wick and continue pushing back down. So I think that's also where this 33,800 level is also very important. So now we drop down to the daily. Alright, so now on this daily time frame, same thing, can we continue pushing back down below this level, and then continue to these levels down here? That's pretty much what our target is. So if this daily candle does not flip back up bullish, and again that would come down to the economic data that we're looking at, right? Because there's no other fundamentals that are really going to be pushing US 30 right now in the next couple of hours or so. So we're still in that bearish trend. Can we hold on to this resistance and then continue pushing down? When you look at the current daily candle, if you want to zoom in a little bit, you see that there is a lot of bearish volume here, right? Where we made that little bit of a top wick, and then we're trying to push back down, barely a bottom wick, so we still have a lot of bearish momentum here. So anything in between, I would call it a no trade range right here, and then just wait for price to continue pushing either above this minor resistance or continue breaking below this 33,800, and then you got those clean sells that you can look for as price continues pushing down. Now we drop down to the 4 hour. Alright, so now in the 4 hour time frame, we see a nice bullish momentum, right? A bullish structure being formed, and then you got a resistance being formed here, where price held onto a resistance, created a nice support, pushed right back up, and then a heavy sell-off. So now can we clear below this consolidation? So here again, I would want to see a retest and a continuation down. So that would give us an indication that price is breaking out of this bullish structure that we have seen from higher time frames as a corrective move.
Hello, is that Mr. Vic? Peter Vic?
You're good.
Alright, awesome. And so if price is just bouncing off of this consolidation, then you want to make sure that that's further confirmation of not trading in this range. And so that's why you want to make sure that clean support and resistance are being formed. So if you want to tighten up this zone here, Stefanos, you can, right above these wick rejections. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I would bring it down a little bit more. There you go. So like right into this area. Oh,
sorry.
No worries. So right into this area. And if price can hold on to a support here, you got quick scalp opportunities that you can take advantage of then. With price pushing back up. But overall, if price does fail to break above this, just understand that this could be just a lower high being formed, and then price just continuing back down. So I think right here in between is going to be your very important level that kind of determines, are you looking for those sells, or are you just looking for better economic data and better technical setup so price can move in one direction or another. When we drop down to the 1 hour time frame, we don't really get too much other confirmation for buys or sells just yet, but we do see that there has been a heavy sell-off, and which kind of checks off the fact that this is a very important level, right? Where you've had break of the highs and the lows, and then price holds on to this consolidation support, gives you a nice retracement right back into that area, and then a heavy sell-off. So this sell-off has to be corrected still. This is why we're waiting on the economic data. We see what pretty much price is doing here, which is pretty much just tapping into this area, getting ready for the economic data. When the news comes out, if it's favorable, we could probably see US 30 pushing right back up. But again, if it's not too far off from what we have been expecting, it's just going to be a quick retracement and then a continuation right back down. Or we end up consolidating out in this area since there is heavy sellers pressure. So if we don't have enough buyers in the market, we might not even get a retracement. We might just end up consolidating out. And then finally, as price breaks below this 33,800, that's your sell-off coming right back down here. That's pretty much it. So I would really keep my eyes on the hourly time frame, and then see if I could see some setups and confirmations from the hourly time frame and 4-hour time frame.
Love it. Yeah, I was looking at this support right here. I think you had the 800 level you wanted to mark off when we were on the
yeah.
So you wanted this right here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
If you want to hop back onto gold real quick, we're getting a pretty nice setup right now.
I've been looking at it. So right here, price ended up rejecting the 15-minute. I love this setup on the 30-minute. 15-minute, a lot of times you'll see price, especially before news comes out, where you'll get a wick rejection like this. Price will create that top wick, pass below the previous candle, push down a little bit, and then start to push back up. And print like a bullish candle, and then come back into this area, and then the news comes out and it continues down. But right now we got a lot of bearish volume after breaking out of this level right here.
Yeah.
Like I personally like the 30-minute setup better. Like I love this setup right here, but the 15-minute you ended up getting that close below. Alright, so you gotta put your stop loss up here and price pass below that candle, or just closed, and you get that confirmation, and then this candle would have just taken you down.
Yep. We got a nice rejection right into that zone. So what I want to see here is, can we continue pushing down and breaking our lows? And then, that could be, we might even end up getting a trade before the news comes out, because after the news comes out, the market might just end up, consolidating and stuff. So pretty much, I just took an entry on this here at 1767.57. And then stop loss is right above the zone just to give price more room. And then I'm targeting, the 4-hour and the daily levels for TP.
Awesome. This would have been nice as the 1-hour candle flips bearish. Could have taken that too. 4 hours tapping into that zone. Yeah, this is something I would have definitely been in if we weren't breaking down those charts.
I just took it as, we're pretty much just talking about this setup right now.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about our live stream. We started at 6:30.
Yeah.
I was having somebody break down the chart, and this was going on in the background, so that's something we would have been in. But you journal it. Anybody that missed this, I highly, highly recommend you guys journal this and just tell yourself, all right, this is where I would have entered. Maybe after it passed this wick, that's where I would have entered. Where would your stop loss be above this 30-minute, above this minute? That's up to you, and you got to study the setup enough times to figure out where you would put your stop loss. If this happens on the 15-minute, I would have put it above here. If this happens on the 30-minute, like it did, I would have put it somewhere around here, around like 172 or 173, right around this area. Stop entry as soon as it passed the low, that bullish candle right there. Something like this. Right, and even if you weren't break even, you'd still be in this. I can't tell you how many times I've bought this trade. It's if you guys want to look at my journal, the whole my whole journal is in my bio on Instagram. So we got about 7 minutes left for news to come out. So I'll have this over here.
So
again, does it have any questions?
As price tapped into that zone, I just closed out, portion of my trade just to secure something right before news. And then I'm looking for a potential scale in, depending on how news comes out, a potential scale in below that zone.
Well, what are we gonna get? YouTube. Any questions? No? Sharma, there's this girl on YouTube that reminds me of you, HannahFX.
HannahFX?
Yeah. Have you seen her before?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she makes some good videos. She reminds me of you a little bit. In a good way. I know people say that. They're like, how do they remind you?
Yeah.
Alright. Someone in the chat. Visitor. Yeah, she makes good little videos. She does vlogs.
Oh. I'm looking at her stuff right now. She got like a variety of stuff. It's not just trading.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I would love to work with, some of these, like the good Forex traders on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be pretty cool, just like a collaboration with a lot of these people.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Like a collaboration with a lot of these people, like the good
Yeah.
Forex traders on YouTube.
Yeah.
Who put out like, great education content and stuff like that.
We could just reach out to them and have them on the podcast too.
Yeah.
Just have them.
That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, we could blow that podcast up if we just provide good content and with the help of you guys just sharing it. It's we've had a lot of really good episodes. If we go back, let me take a look.
Because I see that a lot with like in real estate when I'm like connected to a lot of good people. Some of them have like their podcasts and stuff like that, and then that's pretty much how you grow in any industry, right? Collaboration instead of like, who was it? I think it was Tim Story. I heard him say it, where it was like collaboration over competition, which is like 100% how you would grow in like any industry.
100%. Absolutely. So we did a bunch of different podcasts over here. Secrets of Trading with Drew Bishop. How important is having a mentor in Forex? How to set yourself up for success in 2022. Secrets of Guests with Chris Davis. This is a nice inspirational story for you guys to know like what is possible in this market from starting from basically nothing. We had Harrison talking about Forex and mental health. He's from the UK. We had a live simulation session. Let's see. How to journal your trades, discipline and drive. Trading with Paul over here.
Yeah.
What's it called? Who else do we have? Marlon, and then we had Austin Weatherford as well.
Yeah.
So now we're going to be, we started out with a lot of like, one-on-one episodes with us. I think we have more that's not in this playlist, but there's a bunch that you guys can take a ton from. A lot of value in there.
I've seen when I met Marlon, it was last year September, I believe. We met and I took a trip down for like the real estate conference, and so he wasn't like pushing out that much content and stuff like that, but I've like really seen how he took everything that we learned at that conference to the next level. And like he has his own, like he already had his own podcast and stuff, but like he really like blew that up. And that like confirmed, it was more of that collaboration, working with other people, and then, really leveraging everyone's information, which I thought was, extremely cool.
I hear those in-person conferences are a lot more beneficial than like watching something on YouTube and stuff like that. Maybe it's the energy in the room.
It is the energy in the room, but that conference wasn't more like, we barely spent any time in a conference room. Majority of our time was just spent like networking with each other outside of the conference room. So like just talking to people, like what are they up to. Walking out of there, we got like a lot of deals that were signed, a lot of deals that we decided to work on together. And these are people that I probably wouldn't have met otherwise because they're like from all over the country. We got Marlon moved from New York to Arizona recently after that conference that we went to, just to network with people and be around like more people, like-minded people of what he was trying to do. So there's a lot of different avenues that you can go in, like real estate itself. So depending on what you want to do, something like that, there are a lot of networking, a lot of deals and everything like that. I think it's more of like meeting one-on-one in person, and then just like talking to as many people as you can. And that's kind of like what I hope to do with like Forex as well. So like when I started like the mentorship and whatnot, it was a pretty similar mindset where it's like bring people together and then bring them together with other people who are like-minded, right? Not just like people who are kind of just showing off a lifestyle particularly, but more on the education side, more of like the real work that needs to be put in, and eventually get to the point where I'm able to host a couple of those throughout the country a year and bring people together and actually like make a change.
Absolutely. All right, so news just came out. Retail sales. We haven't gotten a release yet. What I was looking for here is like a top wick formed on the 30-minute and price breaking down.
Yeah.
Why
You gotta scroll up.
Oh, there you go.
Nope, come back down.
Uh-huh. Where are we? It should be somewhere around here. Oh, retail sales. Yeah, didn't release. Alright. Wow, the one time. Come on, KB. Get your boys in order.
So the retail sales, the core retail sales, we were expecting that to hit a negative 0.1%. We came up to a 0.4%, which is, still a pretty good thing. And then retail sales came out to 0%. We were expecting 0.1%. So I'm expecting, some volatility here. And then let's see if we can continue breaking below this zone that we have marked off.
What I was looking for here is after I was figuring the 30-minute candle would close somewhere around this area, I was looking for like a top wick formed, and if that candle flipped bearish, that could be a possible entry. But it looks like we got some indecision here.
Yeah.
So now you just gotta wait and see what ends up happening, and if we respect this resistance to continue down. Because as you know, the higher time frames over here are all below the support. 4 hour, the 1 hour. 1 hour ended up passing the low. And this is what happens a lot of the time. If you look at the 15-minute, how this candle ended up pushing below that candle and then rejecting and closing like a weaker bearish candle. This one pushed all the way down and pushed up. Obviously, that's news. But a lot of times, like, you'll either get a little push here on the 15-minute and then price will flip bullish and it'll close bullish right around here, and then you'll get that deeper pullback to continue down. Or price will push down where you want. Definitely secure this. On gold, every time I've taken this on the 15-minute, you have to secure down here, right? Or else the price is going to snap back up again. But if this is on the 30-minute and you get a nice strong bearish close below this level, the next candle could create a top wick and then continue back down.
Yep. That's the reason why I secured 50% of my trade into that zone, and then kept my stop loss right above this area here when I entered the trade. Kept the stop loss right above the zone, and then secured 50% when price pushed back down. And then when I saw that, okay, it's not going to continue pushing down, we're getting too close to the news, close out that trade, because now I'm looking for another setup, potentially somewhere from up top here again.
Absolutely. I appreciate what both of you are doing for the community. I definitely feel like I found my reliable people versus the people I have around me in reality on a daily basis at the moment. I feel less alone on this journey alongside you, all amongst like-minded people. Grateful for the internet and connected. Yeah, absolutely. you're often going to find that, a lot of you guys that are on this journey, a lot of the people that you grew up with are not on the same journey. They're not on the same wavelength. They're thinking differently. They're thinking more average. I don't mean that in a mean way or anything like that, but it's how most average people or most consumers think, right? They all kind of go with the crowd. They go with comfort instead of uncomfort, which is what's going to lead you to where you want to be in life, much more than average. And that's where they end up going. But what you need to do, now that we're in this day and age, to you have the ability to meet people online and create a circle for yourself. Sometimes they're free communities, sometimes they're paid communities, where you have a paid mentor, like what we do. But it's so worth it because you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people, all with the same goals, collaborating every single morning, trading-wise. Starting to break down over here. And that's the benefit of it. Like when you surround yourself with like-minded people, you guys are going to be good. All right, Jamie. Have a great day, okay, buddy?
Alright, let's see.
You looking to take something here?
Yeah, I'm looking for that zone to be broken and then look for a potential trade. We got a couple of seconds left, so I'm just going to wait for this candle to close.
For the 5 minute?
Yeah.
Let's see if it closes below. Because I'm thinking they're the same thing. Oh, it did kind of close below in the 1 minute. There you go. No bottom wick. Okay, I took a little something as we pass the low here with my stop loss up here, anticipating the price to continue down. Hopefully we respect this area and continue this down because I like this price action. I like that final tap, and I'm really taking this based on the higher time frames for the price to continue down.
I'm waiting for that 165 level to be completely broken. Where price made the bottom wick right now on the current candle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Might be a little too tight of a stop loss, but that's why you lower your risk. Let's see if we respect that level. Yeah, it's a little premature trade. Alright. Lower your risk, 0.5% whenever you're trading news like this. And that's it.
Alright.
Yes, sir.
I think we got pretty good setups. It's just we need to see a little bit more volume kicking in, which could happen in about 20 minutes.
Yes. PJ ended up closing bearish on the 1 hour. We're still kind of consolidating in this area.
Yeah, so it's across all three pairs right now: US 30, GBP, JPY, and also gold.
Now that I look at this, it's looking very similar to what we saw over here on the 15th of July.
We got a good question here, Stephanos, in the chat. From Visitor. If both of you could give the younger 20-year-old versions of yourselves, or rather just when you first started trading, and 1 to 2 years in, what is the advice you would give your younger self now that you feel like you needed to hear back then?
That's a good question because I feel like a lot of the stuff I did in the beginning, I would still be doing the same thing. Like just outworking everybody and back testing every single day, studying my trades. Like I'm not doing many things differently that like now than I was in the past. That's why I always felt like I was on the right path and doing all the right things. It's just discipline was number one for me. Right? A lot of people it isn't. So like if that's your thing, make discipline your number one thing in your personal life and in your trading career as well. Like it's going to translate easily, because if you start creating a habit in the beginning of having strong discipline and sticking to your word, that's going to translate to the market, because now you're going to be sticking to your plan, sticking to what you say you're going to do for a trade, sticking to your exit strategy for a trade. I hope that helps. Like I said, I feel like I was doing a lot of the proper things in the beginning, so that's why I don't know if I would change much.
Yep.
Even if there's like adversity that you hit, you still wouldn't change it because you learn from it.
I'm still in my young 20s. I haven't even hit 25 yet. So, same thing where I think the biggest asset for me was, when I started off trading, I wasn't old enough to create like a trading account. I was under 18 when I actually really became interested, and I was like, I didn't really have anybody else in my family who was like investing, trading, stocks, anything like that. So it was more of like, well, I'm going to have to figure out how to do it, right, if I'm really interested in this. And so I guess that was an asset for me, in disguise, a blessing in disguise, because I started off with, opposite of what most people do. Most people like open up an account and they start trading and stuff, and then, somewhere down the road after a couple of years in, they like hear this concept of like journal your trades, or like they start taking it seriously. But I had to start, in the opposite direction. I had to start journaling first. And that's pretty much, how my journey started off. And then when I was able to make an account, I was already like, a couple years in. So I understood pretty much, where to take, how my entries should be, or like how should I be managing these trades, or like, understanding. I started off with stocks, so like understanding like the financial statements and stuff, and being able to read that and understand where's the company headed, what really moves the stock price, taking all that into account. And then really the only difference by that point was like I was actually putting money in and investing, because I had already done all the other homework. So I think it's that, and then also everything that I have been doing since, talking about going to college, degrees, or like internships, or jobs, or whatever you want to call it. Everything has been in line with, I want to work with the capital markets, with the financial markets. And so, everything was very deliberate in that sense too, making those decisions of where I'm kind of spending my time and what I'm doing with my time, whether it's like academics or just outside of academics. So I think for me, it was very important, because this is a career that I'm very serious about. It's not just trading on the side, as extra income. This is a space that I want to be in. And so everything from bachelor's to like master's and like postmasters now, it's everything about, I want to work in capital markets. That's the work that I want to do, with, not necessarily a job, but more of like, having my own mentorship, for example, trading on my own, projects that, I'm working on, if you want to call it a hobby or whatever, but doing those kind of things. So everything that I do is very deliberate, in the sense that this is the goal that I'm trying to work towards. So if I were to go back, the last 6 years, I would probably do the same exact thing, where it's start off with journaling, start off with the hardest part, and then grind it out from there. Gather as much data as you can, gather as much information as you can, and then be very deliberate about the trades that I'm taking, but also the decisions that I'm making outside of trading, that kind of align with these goals.
Great answer. It was a great question.
Yeah, it was. We got another question here on YouTube. When I do a top-down analysis starting from the monthly time frame, by the time I'm coming to the 30-minute time frame, my chart is full of zones, which ends up confusing me. So what I would suggest doing is go back and look at every zone that you're marking off, and is it really that important, or like do you see price bouncing off of those levels? So what I do is start off with the monthly time frame, just have like 2 levels there, right? So, and also answer the question in your head, like what level needs to be broken right now for price to continue up to the next level that you're marking off, right? So maybe it'll come back down to Instead of marking off like 400, 500 pips away from where price is currently at right now, to marking off the current wick projections or where price is sitting at currently. And then look to the left. If you see price bouncing off of it a lot of times, then you know that that's a very important level. But if it's only bouncing off of it 1 or 2 times, it's not really a strong resistance or support, then you don't really need that level. You want to make sure that all your levels have some sort of a confluence across time frames. Anything you want to add, Stephanos?
Yeah, no, I was just reading the question. When I do a top-down analysis, starting from the monthly time frame, by the time I'm coming to the 30-minute chart, this focus on which ends up confusing me. Okay, so Eddie, every single time you come to the market, erase the chart and just redo it. And it's going to be a little confusing at first, but the more you do it, the better you're going to get, the more confident you're going to get. Also, send your charts. That's the number one way to get better. Especially with like people you trust and people you like in the market, whether it's your friends or mentor, send your chart to them with it, everything drawn out, and then eventually they'll come back to you with like, okay, maybe I draw my zone here, here, and here. The more you do that over the course of a few weeks, the better you're going to get. That's why we always tell you guys to send your charts so that we get a good idea of what you're thinking and we can go back and correct it. But if you keep drawing the wrong levels, you're going to lower your win rate, and that's going to hurt your confidence, and you're going to wonder why you're losing these trades if you don't have anybody to send the trades to or send the charts to. You're going to, be going in circles basically until eventually you start to figure it out. So I think that's one of those most important things of having somebody to bounce your trades off of, whether it's a running mate, somebody that you're learning trading with at the same time, or even better yet, a mentor that's been there before and that can help you.
Yeah, and like you guys can drop charts here too. If you are part of the, if you are on YouTube, part of the live session, you can drop your charts here, or you can just hit either of us up on Instagram and then just kind of send your charts in. We'd be more than happy to look at it, answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, go right here. The camera, tap right, and then copy link to the chart image. Alt S. You can send that right into the YouTube chat.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and make sure that you're taking off the levels and everything like that every session that you come onto the charts, because there are going to be new levels that are being formed, and so you want to make sure you're taking all of that into account. If you did your analysis on a Sunday or Monday and now it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, there are new levels that have been formed. And so that is going to kind of, cloud your judgment when it comes to looking at potential trade opportunities.
Absolutely. I'm reading this Sebash. I think that's his Jatla.
Yeah, so he's saying that's an excellent approach. I'm currently pursuing my master's in accounting and finance from a uni in UK. If I want to build up a career in currency markets, could you please tell me how I can start? Because I'm excited and intrigued about the same field, but I'm not quite clear as to how to get into this. I did the basic courses in Bloomberg terminals to start with. What I did is, I think the most important thing when you're looking into finance or looking into like investment banking or anything like that is going to be networking. A lot of networking. And so what I did is I got a couple of internships. At my university we had this thing called the Student Managed Fund. So it was like $50,000 that was donated by some person like years before I came into university. And then it was, we were using like the Bloomberg terminals. You went in, you did your research and stuff, and then we also had like a portfolio for the fund. And so you kind of get to pick which industries you want to be a part of. So I did like financial services and also the healthcare industry. So those were the companies that I was responsible for, so those stocks. So doing research on those, and then learn the technical, when you're looking at the different models and stuff, like the discounted cash flow, and then earnings per share, looking at how to do these calculations and stuff. So that's what I pretty much learned, those all those different models. And then you do the research and you present it to the board, pretty much is what they were called. It was 2 professors and like a couple of graduate students and people of higher ranking. And so you present it to them and you pretty much tell them that, hey, we have this stock, for example, in our portfolio, which I think, we should continue holding on to this because it has great potential, and then you kind of do show your entire research and you do a presentation on it. Or there is a stock in our portfolio, which I think we should sell it because of X, Y, and Z. And again, show them the technical models, the quantitative stuff, and then also tell them, like, from a project perspective, this company's not really doing much, or whatever the reason may be, why should we sell it? Or there's another company which I think we should add to our portfolio, and again, the entire technical presentation to it, and then they make the decision of whether or not to invest in those companies. So in that term, I pitched about 5 different stocks. Because you don't get to do it every single week or anything like that. It's like every other week or every other 2 weeks whenever you have a company available. And then out of those 5, they invested in 4. And then I just went back a couple of weeks ago to look at if those companies are still part of the portfolio. There's only 3 that were part of it. So if there's anything like that that's part of your university or your school or whatever program that you're doing, then definitely participate in that. And then through that, there were also like a lot of different networking events. And so definitely go there and network with a lot of people, bankers or anybody else who's working in the finance industry, whatever you want to do. Network with them. And then from there, there were like a lot of different competitions and stuff that I was also a part of. And then again, same thing. The purpose is networking. That's really what you want to focus on, because those are the people who are going to help you out. A lot of this, if you're applying for a job, if you really want to work, doing a job in this industry, you're going to have to network with people, because those are the people that are going to send in referrals and things like that internally, which is going to boost up your probability of people even looking at your application and you even getting a job there. And specifically because in finance and like investment banking stuff, at least in the United States, it's very hard to get into that industry, since a lot of these companies, when you're looking at Goldman Sachs, when you're looking at JP Morgan, whenever you're looking at any of these investment banks, they tend to hire from the very like top-notch universities, and talking about like Harvard, Stanford, those kind of things. So you want to look at, in the UK itself, are you really part of that university that is top-notch? Or if you're kind of in like the lower tiers, which is not a bad thing, I don't mean it in a bad way, but if you're kind of in part of those lower tiers, then what you really need to focus on is networking with people. Get onto LinkedIn and start messaging people and build like a strong portfolio from there. Work on different projects and stuff. Trading, you could put this down. If you're doing like forex trading, put that down and make sure you have a journal so you can show them like an actual like entire record keeping that you have, and that like I've taken this trade, I've taken this X amount of money, and I've grown into an X amount of account already, right? And this is like you can put all of this down for sure. It's just like wording in a different way. If you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, a lot of your success in anything is going to be predicated on, especially in business, but who you know.
Yes.
It's information that you're getting from them, networking with another person, like this person's cousin is the owner of JetBlue, and then all of a sudden you get into their circle. That's invaluable. Like there's no price to that. So, it's all opportunity cost, and how much time you're spending networking is really going to help you out a lot.
Yeah. And get internships. Sign up for those internships. Don't wait for the last minute for investment banking and things like that. Don't wait for the last minute. If the deadline is July 14th and you already saw that there's an opportunity to open up like in June, fill it out in June. Get it done with, because you don't want to be waiting for the last minute. Those spots will get filled up very, very quickly. So that's pretty much what my experience was like, because I've done a lot of these internships during my college time with like some investment banks and other like boutique investment banks too, which are pretty much the smaller investment banks around the area. And then getting into, after that, I kind of realized that okay, I have experience in like the investment banking. I have like good network there. I understand how this entire thing works, how trading works, packaging, structuring, all these different equities or whatever it is. And then moving into like the venture capital space, and same thing, you want to really network there, which I did in my master's program. There was a competition, the venture capital investment competition, and where we pitched to real VCs, who would invest in the startups that we are, analyzing. So we have startups come to us, and they would tell us like their ideas and stuff, and give us like a whole presentation. Here's like our finances. A lot of the finances were out of order. Another thing is that founders and entrepreneurs love to be optimistic about their finances. So they are going to give you a financial model. This is our projection, this and that. Be conservative about it. You're an investor. There's no way that a lot of these companies are going to be hitting those numbers. And they're talking about like jumping from like making a couple of thousands to like hundreds of thousands to like millions in like 2-3 years. It rarely happens, right? And so I was part of that competition, and then my team and I, we ended up like winning a couple of awards there. But the main thing was, again, networking with those VCs, and I made sure to reach out to them afterwards. And a lot of those VCs, one of them reached out to me, and I work with them like independently outside. If they have like a company, for example, and they're looking for investors, like I will bring the investors to them. Or if they have investors and there's particular startups that they're looking for, then I will bring the startups to them, right? We have these discussions all the time. So kind of be deliberate about everything that you're doing, and take advantage of every single opportunity that you can if you're in university.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All right.
You want to talk about the next couple of things to watch out for? We have 6 minutes before the New York Stock Exchange opens up.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm looking over here. We have that heavy rejection of that 1766 area over here, but we are still respecting that previous support as the new resistance. If you look at the 15-minute, it looked like we're trying to break into this previous range, and now we're starting to flip bearish. So can we get a 15-minute bearish close here to possibly continue down? We have a lot of indecision here, but we did create a new low that possibly, if we hold this resistance, can price continue down. I think this was a really strong move of the morning right over here, where price came all the way back into 1766. But we could very well get another move with the stock exchange opening up at 9:30.
Yeah, keeping the focus on the hourly and the 4-hour time frames. We've had heavy sell-offs from those time frames, so look for those corrective moves and then a push back down.
Just wait for your setups. That's the basic answer that you guys can have that really helps a lot. It's like, don't just try to enter into something that you're not too familiar with. Just wait for your setup and then end up trading it. If you get it. GJ right now I think is really rangy. Right now it's starting to reject that area, or it's been rejecting that area, getting a nice volume push over here to end the hour. Can you get a close below this level, right, on the 15 or the 30 minute, mainly the 15 minute, top wick rejection, and price continues down? You got about 28 pips in that range. So maybe you could get that as price is rejecting this consolidation area. So if we get like a deeper pullback, maybe you could take advantage of that. Right, price is just tapping into here. And again, as you see from this area, price is tapped multiple times over here, right? And then just dropped. So now that we're kind of in that whole zone, can we get a deeper pullback continuing down, or are we going to hold support over here and continue back up? All right.
Perfecto. So again, just wait for your setups. Be patient about it. The volume's going to start kicking in like about an hour, in like 6 minutes to an hour. So just wait for your proper setup to wait for these levels to be broken. As always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to either of us. So this Friday there is going to be a simulation session around 3 p.m. PST. Stephanos, I believe you're not able to join in this week, right?
Yeah, we'll be able to do it this Friday, but next Friday we can do it.
Okay. So I'll just lead the one to this week, and then next week we'll do it together. So there's going to be that, and then again, we're going to move our breakdowns onto Sundays at 9 a.m. PST, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's going to be live on YouTube, and it's also going to be live on Instagram. So if you guys have any questions or you want to join in and watch the breakdown live and participate, just come back onto the same channel. So on my YouTube here, and then Stephanos' Instagram. And again, the podcast, I feel like I'm forgetting more stuff, but we're starting up the podcast again. If there's any particular topics that you guys want us to go over, when it comes to psychology or like anything else, risk management, things like that. Things that you wish that people would tell you when you started trading, but you kind of learned it, late into your trading journey, or you wish just people had told you before. Just feel free to put those topics into the comments or message us on Instagram, and we'll just make sure that we get that covered for you guys. I think that's about it, right? Those are the only announcements.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think Visitor got it. So backtesting Friday with Sharma, boot camp on Saturday, and then Sunday breakdown.
Yep,
exactly.
Perfect.
And I've already visited Canada. Maybe at some point. No, no urgency just yet, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Have a good one, and we will see you guys soon.
Trade safe, and remember, you don't have to trade today. If you don't see your setup, don't feel the need to just take a trade because you missed one in the past, right?
Yeah.
Just make sure you focus on your setup. If you don't